A huge week of racing in Britain, Ireland and in the US, and we've got 2 episodes of the Formbook to bring you. First up today, it's a Breeders' Cup preview for all the action at Del Mar on Friday and Saturday, and later this week we'll be looking ahead to the feature action at Wetherby and Down Royal. So stick around and let's see if we can find a few winners where the turf meets the surf. Yes, welcome along and thanks very much for your company as always here on the Formbook. Remember, you can watch every race in the Breeders' Cup live on Racing TV this weekend across Friday and Saturday evening. So settle in with a nice glass of something and enjoy all the action. Last episode of the Formbook saw British Champions Day take centre stage, and we put up Trawlerman, Calandigan and Crown of Oaks, all winners on the day, 5-6, 15-8 and 5-1 respectively. We were unlucky as well with Ardisia, who was second to Mission Central at 18-1, put that horse up each way, and Alakazi, who ran a screamer in the QE2 at 22-1. So that's a look at what happened in the past, but let's build up to this weekend then. Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint first up, 9:45 p.m. on Friday night. Your 5-2 favourite is True Love. Schwarzenegger, he's back at 6-1. Military Code at 7s. Brussels and Havana Anna at 15-2. Champions Day winner Mission Central there at 9s. Lenny Lou at 10s. And it's 12-1 bar the remainder. So let's have a look at the key form line first up, shall we? And that, of course, is True Love's win in the Cheveley Park. There she's on the outside. Wayne Lorden retains the ride. Look, she's got leading claims dropping back down to 5 furlongs. She's had a busy year, would be one slight concern with a no-name never charge, but she's ran twice over 5 furlongs, got a win and was second to Lady Aman on debut. For me, I'm going to be with Havana Anna, who's second on this occasion. She's only just denied. Many might say that I think the step back down in trip, as Donna O'Brien, her trainer, has already mentioned, is really going to suit her. So I just think round a tight bend at Del Mar as well, there could still be a little bit more to come from Havana Anna, and she gets the verdict for me, hopefully giving Donna O'Brien a big win at the Breeders' Cup. Just think she's a filly who's got a little bit more to give in that contest. But look, it's a competitive enough contest, that sprint. Let's have a look at another couple of form lines. Military Code here finishing second to Revival Power in the Julia Graves earlier on this season. That horse is another who's not discounted for William Buick. But again, get busy enough over the year. Had a nice break of 69 days since that run, but similar comments apply. Another horse who I like at a bigger price, though, is Brussels. Put him up earlier for the Champions Day, but he didn't end up running there. But here he's in the Cornwallis. Took an age to get rolling. Here, I think he's all over the winner before Beckford's Folly swoops very, very late to score. I just think 5 furlongs is ideal for this horse. Round the bend again, I think there's still a lot more to come. He didn't, of course, end up running on Champions Day. Mission Central, who's also going to run here, ended up running. But I still think Brussels is a horse who's got a lot more to give. And maybe this could be his time to shine at Del Mar. Also mentioned that other horse, though, which is Mission Central. Of course, he's coming into this on the back of his very good win here on Champions Day. Quick and clear in good style. Sees off Ardisia. And there was a lot to like about the effort. Wouldn't put you off this horse again, but it's a quick enough turnaround. And McMonagle rides. Sumion is with Brussels. So for me, that's all you need to know in terms of the jockey bookings. Lorden was going to ride True Love because they won together last time. The fact that Super Sumi's chosen Brussels looks a tip in itself for me. So that's the first race. 2 selections there. Brussels each way. He's currently, I'm looking 15-2. And it's the same price about Havana Anna. So both of them are 15-2. I think they make a bit of appeal compared to True Love, who's going to have plenty of people in her camp supporting her. But I've just got slight concerns about the fact that she's dropping back down in trip and she might find a couple of others who've got too much boots. Just having a quick look at the form of Schwarzenegger. Comes into this on the back of a listed win over Obliteration and Rogue Legend last time out. Held on diminishing margin in the closing stages, but clearly goes well on fast ground and is respected. But usually in these juvenile turf races, the Brits hold the advantage, and I think they might do again in that one. Next race is 11:05. That's the juvenile fillies turf. Precise is your 10-11 favourite. Time to Dream at 6s. Ground Support at 10s. Imagination of the Lady and Queen of Hawaii at 12s, and it's 16-1 bar. This race, I think, is a little bit easier from a form point of view. She's got a difficult draw. I think she's in the car park. I think I saw the draw this morning. But Precise should be miles too good for this lot. She's drawn in 13 of 13, which isn't going to make things any easier for her. But she's coming into this on the back of a brilliant sequence. Here she is powering clear to see off Venetian Lace. She'd also then previously won the Moiglaire. She's won her last 4. There's still stacks more to come. Sumi's up in the saddle miles before the line on that occasion. She's arguably one of the best fillies that O'Brien's ever brought in terms of the juvenile division. And even though she's got that nightmare draw, hopefully Sumi can get her nicely positioned. And I think she'll just have a little bit too much boot for a lot of her rivals, all of which are really American horses, which makes it a little bit tougher from my form perspective. Time to Dream comes in on the back of a 3rd at Keeneland last time to Imagination of the Lady. Went off a short price on that occasion, Time to Dream, but met a lot of trouble. Hopefully with a better ride, that horse could feature. And Ground Support, who's won 2 from 2, and Adam Brschitzer rides that one. But on all-known form, I just think Precise will have a bit too much boot for this lot and should prove pretty tough to beat. Final race from the juvenile perspective to preview the turf. 4 to 5 Fab is Gstaad for Aidan O'Brien. 7 to 1 for Outfielder. Bottas at 8. Hey Nene at 12s. Argos at 14. Stark Contrast and Street Beast at 16s. Old Pallard this year at 20s. Turf Star the same price. North Coast at 25s. 33 to 1 bar. Obvious place to start is the Dewhurst. Gstaad finishing second on this occasion to Guan. So he's stepping up for the first time to a mile, but obviously it's a delicate mile around Delmar, more like a 7 furlong. But again, I've got concerns similar to True Love. Could it all happen a bit quick for him? It did again in the Dewhurst over 7. He gets rolling under Sumi on a bit too late in the closing stages. He's gaining all the way to the line on Guan, but again, it wasn't good enough. Maybe the mile gives him a little bit more time to settle, etc. But I just worry about him slightly in terms of his turn of foot. If he's got the speed and the zip over 7 to really lay it up with them. Look, 4 to 5 favourite, he deserves to be. His form, particularly his Coventry win and plenty more, suggests that he's the one to beat. And you could argue I'm talking nonsense, given he's already won a Coventry over 6 furlongs. But there are still concerns about him. He's giving that manner that he's going to be better over further. And again, I've got slight concerns similar to that of True Love. Selection in the race. Well, we've already, of course, shown you. I think Ardissia is going to run well again. The big concern, of course, is the quick turnaround. But Hugo Palmer's horse clearly thrives on racing. Got the wins over 5. Has got a win over 6 furlongs already this season. Has won over 5 as well. But probably the concern is stepping up in trip to this easy mile. I don't know. On pedigree, being by our dad, I think there might just be enough scope for him to get it. So Ardissia, 20 to 1. Murphy on board again. I just think he can outrun his odds again. He's had a busy season, but he's a horse who's thriving on his racing. So he'd be one of the selections. The other one's the other sort of international raider. I do like North Coast here. Here he is winning the Tyros for Joseph O'Brien. Dylan Brown McMonagle crowned champion jockey in Ireland this week. Haven't seen him since finishing 4th at the Curragh. Well beaten on that occasion too in the National. But previous win here in the Tyros, he did it on good style, winning by 6 lengths in the end. And he's a horse who also handles quicker ground. I just think if he's able to maybe lay up with them, there could be a little bit more to come from him in this contest. He's drawn in 6. Nice draw. So North Coast in that contest for me. There's your betting once more. Excuse me. And there's the 2 selections, Ardissia and North Coast. Brussels and Havana Anna in those 2 races there. Precise in the 11.05 and Ardissia and North Coast in the 12.25. I badly need to cough, and I'll be back to the Saturday after this.
To have this weather and to have the beach and this racetrack, this is paradise. You can't beat it.
This is the Breeders' Cup World Championships from Del Mar.
Oh, it's wide open. Who's it going to be? Sierra Leone does it in the Breeders' Cup Classic.
So yeah, and as I said, remember you can watch every race live from the Breeders' Cup on Racing TV this weekend. If you're not a Racing TV member, though, make sure you do take advantage of the 3 1-month trial that's currently on offer. Of course, moving into the jump season here in Britain and Ireland, so plenty of stuff to take advantage of in terms of the 3 1-month trial. We've got November meeting coming up, as I mentioned, the Charlie Hall Chase later this week, and plenty more besides that. So if you want to take advantage of that, you can scan this QR code, which is in the right-hand side of your screen. Champions Fall Gallop, if you haven't watched that yet, remember you can stream that live on ITVX. And do take advantage of the Race IQ page. That's now available for metrics on every British and Irish race. Excuse me, maybe I'll help you pick a few winners this weekend at Del Mar. Back to the previews then. Now I've recovered from my coughing fit. 7:41 Del Mar Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint on Saturday. Motorious is your 3-1 favourite. AG Bullet at 4s. 5s for Arizona Blaze and Bucanero Fuerte at 10s, along with Reef Runner, She's So Spicy, and She's Quality at 11-1. 16-1 bar those. So look, again, focusing on the British and Irish form first, the clear form line is Arizona Blaze's win in the Flying Five with Bucanero Fuerte in third. As four, of course, was in this. Frank the Form by winning the Abai. And Arizona Blaze commands plenty of respect. Clearly a horse who does go well at the Curragh, got a very good record there and on quicker ground. And again, there's no doubting that horse should be towards the top of the market. Bucanero Fuerte, who's the stable companion, as we saw, third on that occasion, but has been doing really well again this season. And another who's proven over further. So I think both of those have got a similar level of form. And another horse who's similar to that is She's Quality. Now, having a look back here at the second at Goodwood, this came a while ago behind JM Jungle, been kept busy since, of course, was fourth in that race behind Arizona Blaze. But I just think this horse, crying out for quick ground again, and is going to get that here, has been kept busy this season. Colin Keane aboard, but I just think over the minimum trip is a filly who might just need a real bit of rattling fast ground to show her at her best. Frankie Dettori rides Cardem, so that horse is respected. But now a 9-year-old, brilliant win last time out at Keeneland. Clearly has done well over in the States, but slight concerns maybe that might find a couple too good. And a brief word on the two that topped the market from the US. Well, AG Bullet comes into this on the back of a win at Kentucky Downs last time out. It's hard to get a proper read on this form compared to what the British sprinters are trying, but Motorious is a horse who's won 9 of the 20 career starts and comes into this on the back of 2 wins, including at Del Mar last time out when scoring over the 5 furlongs, seeing off Reef Runner. So probably, based on that performance, got course form, deserves a position at the top of the market. But the British sprinters and the Irish sprinters, it's not been a brilliant vintage year in terms of them strutting their stuff. We've had so many different winners, be it Lazat, as 4, of course, and then on Champion Sprint Day as well with a 200-1 shot winning on that occasion. So it's tricky to get a proper glare on the form, but I do think She's Quality, back on quicker ground, might just be the one to go with there. And 11-1, I'd be happy to take a chance about her going close. Next up, the Breeders' Cup Turf. 10-11 favourite is Minnie Hauk. 5-2 for Rebels Romance. Goliath at 10s. 14s for Amalok. Ethical Diamond at 20s, along with Wimbledon Hawkeye. And it's 25-1 bar. So really, a lot of people saying this is a big clash between Minnie Hauk and Rebels Romance. For me, it's really impossible to look past Minnie Hauk if she's anywhere near her best. Her form is the best in Europe this year. She's already won an Epsom Oaks, an Irish Oaks, a Yorkshire Oaks, and then, of course, she's only narrowly denied by Darius in the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. That's a ripple level of form, and that's better than anything even that the great Rebels Romance has done this year, despite him having a superb year himself. Good performance over well there at Epsom, who of course went on to win the Pretty Polly et al. And then again, not probably vintage performance here in the Irish Oaks, but did it with aplomb once more. Darius got the better of her at Longchamp. I think she won't be inconvenienced by the return to quicker ground. Just looking back on her CV, she's got wins on good ground, good to firm when she won the Yorkshire Oaks up on the Knavesmire. Rebels Romance is deeply respected. We know all about his CV. Buick back on board, having scored at Belmont last time out. Frankie Dettori rode in the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic. And of course, go back a couple of years, already got victories on the board at the Breeders' Cup meeting. So look, won this last year. No doubting that, again, he'll be putting his best foot forward and he'll be the one that Minnie Hauk's got the most to worry about. But at the same time, I think if you're going on base level of form, she's just improved with every single start this year. The fact they've decided to continue to roll the dice with her and go on to the Breeders' Cup Turf suggests that she's going to be tough to beat here. Amalok is another horse who runs in this, Ross Orion and Rafe Beckett. Last seen finishing second, of course, in the Irish St. Leger to Alritha. That was another good step forward, having backed up victories at Goodwood and Ascot. And no doubting that this horse will again be a factor. One on good to firm ground as well. Just maybe he lacks the form quality of some of the others in this. Ethical Diamond, I think the trip's more of a concern for me here. Has got victories over 1 mile 4 and then, of course, winning the Ebor. I just think is a horse who stays on pretty strongly over a longer trip. So, look, given the ground as well, given how well he goes on good to firm ground, he deserves his position in the market and in the race. Wimbledon Hawkeye comes into this on the back of a second in the Gordon, and then, of course, went on to the US and got that win at Kentucky Downs last time out under Frankie Dettori in the National Derby, who retains the ride. Again, a horse who goes well on firm ground. But again, it's just that level of form. He's rated 115. Minnie Hauk's rated 123. Rebels Romance is rated 122. So you could argue there's only a pound between them. I still think more's needed from Rebels Romance here. One horse I don't have VT for, but I've got a picture, is Goliath. Of course, won the King George a couple of years back and was last seen winning at Baden-Baden in the Grosser Prix von Baden. Another horse who goes well on this ground and did it nicely when seeing off Dubai Honour at Baden-Baden last time out. This horse has been on the travels before, ran at Tokyo last year in the Japan Cup, finishing 6th, and also at Shartin earlier this year. Deeply respected, 126, who's officially rated better than Minnie Hauk and Rebels Romance. So he's not one to discount here. Last run 55 days ago, coming in pretty fresh. But again, I just think Minnie Hauk's the horse who's improving with every single start. They've decided to keep going. I think she stays in training next year as well. So the fact they've rolled on from Longchamp here to Delmar bodes well for her chances. Next race, no real fancy in this, but just to give you the market. Breeders' Cup Classic, of course, 6-4 favourite is Sovereignty. Fierceness at 9-2, 11-2 for Sierra Leone, who beat Fierceness last year. Forever Young, the Japanese raider on 8s. Journalism at 9s. Mindframe as well at the same price, 16-1 bar. Sovereignty, of course, won the Belmont Stakes earlier on this season. And look, my American knowledge of that sort of form is not up to other people's, but Bill Mott trains this one and, of course, has been doing the business nicely as well at Saratoga recently. Won easily in the Travers by 10 lengths, which is obviously recognised as a big trial for the Classic. And he might just have a few too many gears for Fierceness and Sierra Leone, who are both 4-year-olds this year, along with Forever Young. Sierra Leone comes into this on the back of a second last time out at Saratoga in the Gold Cup Stakes to Antiquarian, whereas Fierceness was successful at Delmar last time out in the Pacific Classic, beating Journalism. But he didn't go a favourite there. Journalism did, which maybe tells the story of those older horses flip-flopping, and maybe Sovereignty might just have a little bit too much class for them. So that's a look at the early races. 2 more still going to look at is the Breeders' Cup Mile and the Filly and Mare Turf, just after this.
Japan's legacy of beauty lives in all we do. Rare sensibilities and breathtaking skill show the way to the finish line. That beauty and that power take you to another world. Racing is art.
Yeah, watching Japan Cup live on Racing TV later on, I think in November. Breeders' Cup Mile, 7-4 favourite is Notable Speech. The line in winter at 6s, Sarlan at 7s, Johannes at 8s, Rhetorical the same price, Formidable Man at 10s, 12s for Jonkill, Programme Trading, 16-1 bar. Not been a great season for Notable Speech in terms of getting his head in front. He's hit the crossbar plenty of times and met plenty of trouble. Here he's finishing 5th in the July Cup when dropped down to 6 furlongs. He finally got a deserved win this season when easily winning the Woodbine Mile last time out. I think he's a horse who does well. He's going to do more than well on his travels again this year. He was 3rd, of course, in this race last year. He met a bit of trouble. He was towards the rear. He didn't really lack the pace to get up with more than Lux and Johannes. But I think this time around, look, he has to be held up. They ride him maybe slightly differently, but I still think he might just have a few too many gears for his rivals in this. He's got a good draw in stall 2 this time around. He was the highest rated 2-year-old last year. It didn't work out for Lion and Windsor so far this season, yet to hit the score sheet. This was his best run so far. 2nd in the QE2 last time out to Cicero's Gift. had the likes of Rosalind and Never So Brave back in the field and Field of Gold, Alakazi. And look, you look for all money, like you might get the better of Cicero's gift, who was 100-1 on the day, just faded in the closing stages. But this was another good run. He's had a long old season, though. He's run 7 or 8 times. That would be a slight concern I've got, despite the fact that probably with every run, he has improved. But he's got form to find, of course, with Sarlan, who comes into his 7-1 sort of chance, this horse, who won the Moulin. The Lion and Winter was third on that occasion. This horse hasn't been seen since. I think he might be slightly better on a softer surface, but he's respected the French Raider. We mentioned Johannes, who, of course, goes for this race again, comes into this having been successful at Santa Anita last time out. And another horse probably mentioned from the American point of view is Formidable Man, who's won the last 2 for Michael McCarthy. John Kill and Kirat, both in the Jubmont colours, are respected. Colin Keynes decided to ride John Kill, who comes into this having finished 4th. I thought he lacked a bit of a turn of foot, which is not usually like him, when 4th in the Turf Mile last time out, which was won by Rhetorical with programme trading in 2nd. And also Kirat, of course, the Sussex Stakes winner. But for me, I think he's a short enough price, but notable speech if he gets the gaps. He remains a top-class miler, and I think he can stamp his class on the Breeders' Cup Mile there. Final race of the night then that we're going to look at, and of course on the day, is the filly and mare Turf. 3-1 favourite is See the Fire. She feels pretty at 4s. Gazora 9-2. Cinderella's Dream at 5s. Diamond Reigns at 8. 14 to Bedtime Story and Village Voice, and it's 16-1 bar. Now this race is very, very trappy. See the Fire is going to get optimum ground like she had here in the Middleton. Good to firm ground is really what she wants, and she powered clear on it on this occasion. She's run very, very well, I think, on the last start when second to Barnavara in the Lopra on ground I don't think she really enjoyed, or in the Nassau when she was third on that occasion, sandwiched between a 4th in the Jubmont International, of course, behind Ombudsman. So she's got that in her favour. I don't think the trip's a big problem either. She's deeply respected, but again, I think similar comments for her. She's had a long old season. She's been on the go since April when finishing 5th at Sandown. And I'm just concerned it might be one run too many with her. Jazora represents Henri Graffard again. Barcelona rides this one. Comes into this having been well beaten in the Arc behind stable companion Darius, but previously had been second in the Prix Vermeil. She's a very talented filly. I just think most of her best forms come on a softer surface. She Feels Pretty is the big raider from the US to give the Brits something to think about. Successful at Woodbine last time out in the EP Taylor, seeing off Diamond Rain on that occasion. Billy Loughnam rides this one for Charlie Appleby. That was the last time that horse ran, only narrowly denied on that occasion. But for me, the horse I'm going to be with is Cinderella's Dream, the stable companion, again for Buick and Appleby. Comes in, says, having won the Falmouth here earlier on this season and was third last time out behind Fallen Angel in the Sun Chariot. I just think on quick ground again, has to prove the stamina, which is the slight concern. But I was second in this race last year behind Moira, was absolutely thundering home at the finish. And again, this horse hasn't got a bad draw in 9. Could have been a lot worse. Could have been properly out in the car park. So I just think Cinderella Dream makes a bit of a pill. And one horse put her up as well in the on Champions Day, but Bedtime Story ran well here, I thought, behind Kalpana. It's been a long old season for this horse. Been on the go since May. But I think good to firm ground might just be what she properly wants. A proper test around a tight track where she can use a bit of a turn of foot. I'll give her one more chance at double figure odds that she can outrun her price, Bedtime Story, because this was another decent enough effort at 18-1 when finishing 4th. So Bedtime Story, Sumio on board, maybe she can put her best foot forward. So she's quality each way in the sprint earlier on the card. Minnie Hauk, I think she's the nap of the night. 10-11 she should be, but I think she might have a bit too much class for her rivals, progressing at a rate of knots. Notable speech in the 11.05, the mile, and Cinderella's Dream in the 12.25, the Breeders' Cup filly and mare Turf, and of course also the chances of Bedtime Story at bigger odds. So there you go. Hope you've enjoyed that. Just a brief look really at the Breeders' Cup this weekend. Let us know any fancies you might have. Remember, you can watch every race in the Breeders' Cup live on Racing TV across Friday and Saturday. We have a dedicated team in the studio. And of course, be taking NBC's pictures as well. So look forward to be bringing you that. And then we'll be building up to some brilliant racing at Wetherby and Down Royal as the jumps really gets going now on Racing TV. And yes, there is our new jumps promo. I'll be joined by Jake Price and Dan Overall on Thursday to look ahead to the action from Wetherby for the Charlie Hall Chase and at Down Royal, where you've got the feature champion chase. Over at Wetherby, looks like we might have Hewick running there against the likes of Protectorat and Jello, whereas in the champion chase, Envoi Alain is one of the headline acts there, potentially along with Western Fold, who's improving rapidly for Gordon Elliott. So enjoy the action. Really looking forward to all of it. Just a reminder, if you want to take advantage of that free trial with Racing TV, then you can do so now. Majestic, magnificent, heroic, authentic, spectacular. That is all the action on Racing TV. And remember, check out Champions Full Gallop Series 2 underway, and you can watch it on ITVX. And you can take advantage of using all the Race IQ data, metrics available minutes after every British and Irish race. And you can scan the QR code in the corner of your screen right now if you do want to join Racing TV. So that's all our episodes of The Flat for the Formbook this year. Hope you've enjoyed them. Looking forward to being joined by some guests for all the action in terms of the jumps. So thanks again, and please remember to gamble responsibly.